WKBT 820.
The Rewind Sports 60 channel on ROKU. Watch us 24 hours, 7 days a week, around the clock on the new TRS 60 ROKU channel. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and the TRS 60 app. The new TRS ROKU channel, your round-the-clock sports and entertainment channel. If you miss any portion of the show, be sure to look out for the continuous replay broadcasts on ROKU. Don't forget to check out our website, therewindsports60.com. Lock it in.
This is a WCPT Moment in Labor. In 2011, 6 Jimmy John's employees in Minneapolis were fired by their franchise-owning company, Mickey Lynn Enterprises, after fighting for paid sick days. This is a common theme in the union-free world of fast food. Over 13 million Americans work in the fast food industry, making an average of $13,500 a year, not even half the average cost of living. 80% of fast food workers have experienced work-related injuries, and only 13% were covered by their employer. A group of employees referred to as the Jimmy John's Six fought for these rights, creating an online campaign, posting a picture of 2 sandwiches saying one of these was made by a healthy employee, the other was made by a sick employee. Can you tell the difference? Too bad, as Jimmy John's workers do not get paid sick days. Help workers win sick days. More than 32 million Americans work a job that does not offer paid sick days. This has been a WCPT Moment in Labor. We're working for your rights.
Thank you for listening to the Sports Cubicle. We're having a lot of fun over here. Mercado, what did your mom just say for Athlete of the Year?
Her favorite Athlete of the Year is COVID spreader Aaron Rodgers. So I mean, that's the win.
I don't know. He's been playing a hell of a year.
Shout out to Mom.
But good old Mama Mercado. And I mean, at this point, you might want to find a new mama.
I guess so. She is a Packers fan, and she's made my life miserable for 32 years now.
Definitely find a new mama.
It's been a fun show, boys, at the Sports Cubicle, and we're going to continue it here. It is Devin Tingle, it's Dan Marver, Paul Chivari, myself, Mike Mercado. We are filling in for the family meeting here on the Sports Cubicle. We're normally on 9 to 10 p.m. We have a bunch of awesome interviews, conversations throughout the week, so make sure you join us to end your weekend every Sunday night right here on WCPT. We're on Twitter at Sports Cubicle TV, all over the universe on Mercado Airwaves Network, and of course the archives of the SoundCloud of WCPT 820. Paulie, what else you got for us that in remembrance of 2021?
A lot of people had passed away in 2021 in the sports world, and we talked about at the top of the show about John Madden, how much of an impact he had, and I could go on for a while with great stories about John Madden, but I thought one of the bigger personalities that we lost this year in sports was Hank Aaron, right at the beginning of the year,
yeah.
and just what that ended up turning into with, whether you want to say it was directly related or not, the Atlanta Braves winning their 4th championship in franchise history, and long time Atlanta Brave or Milwaukee Brave with Hank Aaron. But it's weird when you talk about number 44 Hank Aaron, and it was like the Braves had 44 wins before the All-Star break, 44 wins after the All-Star break. They won the World Series on the 44th week of the calendar year. Just weird things like that. But we're talking about like a legend in Hank Aaron that was still with us up until January of 2021.
In a sport where numbers matter so much, where we, idolize and we memorialize items so much, to see 44 constantly just be brought up with that team, and then to see the run that they did. And I think what a lot of people remember about Hank is just the gentleman that he was and what he represented. So I think that loss, it was just so heavy in the sports world, and then not just in the sports world, what it meant to culture, what it meant to our society. That was a hard one when it happened.
And I think the Braves were already planning on honoring him at the All-Star game this year because they were supposed to be the original host of the All-Star game. That's a story, too, that happened this year of how
Georgia on its own sports merit, all the stuff that was happening politically, and a lot of, not just sports, a lot of entertainment moving, so let alone the All-Star game. You're 100% right.
And I never would have thought that the All-Star game would get moved that close to the All-Star game. I think a month to go, they pulled it out of Atlanta, put it in Denver at Coors Field. So,
which ended up being a very interesting All-Star game.
Yeah, absolutely. The uniforms were ugly. But
totally ugly. Yeah.
What if they had good All-Star game uniforms, really?
Well, they normally wear their own uniforms.
That is true, but I'm saying in the home run derby,
they're always ugly.
I will defend the hats, though. I thought they were pretty nice. I want to get a White Sox one, and it's sold out before I got the chance to. too.
Yeah, but baseball's a big moment, and we talked about it last week. Make sure you check it out on the archives. Was definitely Field of Dreams.
But I thought, in addition to Hank Aaron, another big baseball face of baseball, Tommy Lasorda, passing away, and then in basketball, Elgin Baylor. I thought those were kind of the big three this year of biggest sports deaths of the year. But we've had Ray Fosse and Jerry Remy, the former players / broadcasters in baseball. Irv Cross, a legend in football broadcasting as well as African American broadcasters. Pedro Gomez, surprising. That surprised me that he passed away so young. I think he was like in his 50s, and it was just kind of sudden. Basketball coach Paul Westphal, both the Unser brothers, Al Sr. and Bobby. Don Sutton, the Hall of Fame pitcher. Some young guys. Demaryius Thomas, the former receiver. Vincent Jackson, the former NFL receiver. Colt Brennan, I don't know if he ever made it into the NFL, but he was a
great
college guy.
Quarterback, yeah.
And that was a surprise to me as I was researching this. Some boxers. Leon Spinks, Marvin Hagler, legendary college basketball coach John Chaney, football player Floyd Little, baseball manager Joe Altobelli, Miracle on Ice, Team USA hockey player Mark Pavlovich. We got Stan Olbeck, the former Bulls coach, and Marty Schottenheimer, the former football coach. And even though it was 2022, we got to throw Dan Reeves in there because that just happened yesterday.
And not sports related, Betty White.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was a tough year. It was a tough year. And in a year and a half, 2 years, where we've seen a lot of death.
Mm-hmm. But especially Betty White and John Madden, where it's like at points where they were kind of being honored, and Betty White's 17 days away from her 100th birthday. I mean, there's magazines on the rack that are talking about how she was going to turn 100.
It's so heartbreaking. And I think this is something that I've had family members, and I've talked about it with you guys. It's giving people their flowers when they're around. Giving people the love and admiration while they're here. And I think Betty White and John Madden specifically, because they were here for so long, they lived such fulfilling lives that we still think they were gone too soon, that they got to see it. But then you went through some of these lists, like Demaryius Thomas didn't get a chance to be fully retired. Vincent Jackson was one of the beloved guys, especially when I first started playing fantasy football, for example, that dude was a stud, a precursor to Mike Evans, and you see the tragedy of the difference between them, of how they passed away and how just it brings on different things long term and what it's going to affect their sport they played for.
Well, I'm throwing another one at you. Jerry Remy, was dying of lung cancer, throws out the first pitch at the American League Wild Card game, and I think he passed before the World Series had even wrapped up.
Do you guys, being in this industry, and I think being sports fans, you could say you don't even have to be, we won't even be just that inclusive, just for everybody, being a sportsman, also being so attached to media members, to journalists, to beat reporters. This stuff does impact you. Marver, you've been covering, scouting, coaching, watching for so long, and you've seen some of the brightest and the most loveliest people leave us. I mean, what does it do for you when you see something that we're so attached to, that are part of our daily lives? How important is it to make sure that you're appreciating the people that we have around us and that we follow and watch every single day?
You're absolutely right. I mean, people like Hank Aaron, they're larger than life, so it's like they're still here, even though they're not. Mm-hmm. I mean, he went through so much, beating Babe Ruth's record, racism and other things, but back in the 70s. So and you can see how things have changed. When he got the home run, there were fans running all over the field. They were riding on his back. I mean, you'll never see that again. Yeah. But in any event, I mean, these guys, Madden and Betty White, I mean, icons, and there's, and the video. They do live on in a way. And even if you talk about family members, I mean, 4 years ago, I was at a 100th birthday party for a family member. And in this case, we got to get it in, and then she passed. So, I mean, while they're here, yes, they should be honored, definitely.
Devin, you see some of these names. You've seen what has been a crazy year. Marvelous has brought it up, of just these icons, these giants. I mean, how does it impact you being in the industry, being a fan of so many different mediums? When you get attached, when you're part of these families, what does it mean when we lose people like this?
I mean, these are people you look up to. I mean, you talk about Vincent Jackson. Demaryius Thomas was my first fantasy football guy. I kept him my year every league till someone drafted him. That guy's still a jerk in my mind. But I digress. It's as much as we talk about how it's like we don't know these people. In a way, there is an attachment to that. I think even when these celebrities, these icons, these athletes, pass, it's still something. I remember watching Demaryius Thomas back when I was in middle school, or I think I was that young.
Yeah.
Guys who've been around forever, and it's kind of just like guys like, oh, I kind of forgot he was retired for a little bit because that's how, like you said, it's like he's been out of the league for not very long. And definitely these things do hit a lot, more. I mean, granted, personal, my cat Lucy passed away this year. That's still the hardest last year. Yeah. That's still the hardest loss for me. Yeah. But seeing these, guys like John Madden, a guy who changed the game, a guy whose video games I played my entire year. I told Paul I was playing Madden last night. It was 3rd and down. I went to ask Madden, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's weird.
I mean, it just goes to show, and I think as we move on to the show, and it'll be something that I think we'll continue on doing stories, doing sports shows, living life, right? But I think the most important thing to do is appreciate the people in your life. Give them the flowers while they're here, and just live in the moment as much as you can. And there are a lot of big moments in 2021, the Olympics, Tiger Woods, Paulie. You were able to bring some of these moments to our attention. What really caught your eye when you were making some of these lists?
I had forgotten that the Tiger Woods car accident happened in 2021, and I didn't get a chance to watch that tournament where he played with his son and almost beat the Daly, the Dailies, which, the fact that the Daly kid is in college playing golf.
And Charlie's a boy.
Charlie's a boy, and it's probably going to be a great golfer based on, the fact that he was able to hang in a tournament like that paired with his father. So, I had forgotten about that and how impressive that it is that Tiger Woods is golfing again 10 months after an accident like that. But this was the year that Carl Nassib became the first openly gay NFL player. And then, of course, later we find out his own coach had a lot of homophobic things to say in some emails from years prior.
Now that we've had some time, the football season is ending. That is going to be one of the major stories in the NFL. Him, Urban Meyer, and whoever wins the Super Bowl and the MVP of the league. Those are going to be the 4 stories of the year. How impactful do you think this Gruden story really has been to this league and to the league moving forward? I mean, do you think that the ripple effect of maybe Dan Snyder going down at some point, like this thing is going to be multi-tentacled at some point, right?
I haven't kept up to see what sort of investigations are they doing beyond that, though, because it did kind of feel like, so they were investigating the Washington football team. I would assume that there's going to be way worse stuff than what Gruden was saying if you really investigated the whole league. So I'm wondering, is the NFL sweeping this under the rug and hoping that this is in the rearview mirror, or are we going to hear about more stuff in the future like this?
Well, I did my research here, and Deadspin has voted John Gruden the #1 idiot of 2021.
Okay. And is Urban Meyer number 2, or do they not have a number 2?
I just read the headline on that guy.
So let me ask you guys then, which one long-term is going to be a bigger black eye if we look at the 2021 season? Is the Urban Meyer debacle, or is it John Gruden?
Gruden, without question, yeah.
I actually do have the top 10 here, so I'll finish that after we get our thoughts here.
Marver, which one do you think is going to be the bigger black eye for the league, specifically the 2021 campaign? Urban Meyer debacle, or what John Gruden did in his emails?
I mean, Urban Meyer, I think, is going to last a little longer. I mean, but both of them are pretty bad. I mean, I don't want to call it a tie because I have to pick one, so I'll pick Urban Meyer.
Yeah, Urban Meyer is actually kind of at a higher spot here. So #1 in the Idiot of the Year is John Gruden. #2 is your mom's boy, Aaron Rodgers, Mercado. Trevor Bauer comes in at #3.
How ironic, though, that an idiot would be also a host of Jeopardy.
That's bad.
Let that sink in. How the mighty have fallen.
LeVar Burton. Let's go.
Our Chicago Blackhawks have come in at #4. Urban Meyer takes #5.
Okay, so I think we can stop there. That is a good.
We spent a good episode on it.
And definitely, again, the archives, the WCPT 820 SoundCloud, and wherever you get your favorite podcasts on all major podcast platforms at Mercado Airwaves Network, and on YouTube, Mercado Airwaves Network. Make sure you subscribe to us there. That is something that, while it seems like we've moved on because hockey has started and this team has played, they fired coaches, the entire front office is gone essentially. That was not just a major story, that was a upsetting story to this day, that anytime it does get brought up, even if the Blackhawks went on a winning streak, this is something that's not going to go away from them anytime soon. What do you guys think?
It still doesn't sit well with me. I still don't like the fact that I have a jersey in my closet. I don't know whether to give it away for free or make money off of it.
No, I get it. It's tough. Yeah, no, I get it. What else you got?
Oh, I mean, okay, as far as stories? Okay. Yeah. So, I know you guys aren't soccer guys, but Lionel Messi leaving Barcelona. He'd been there since he was 13 in their youth academy and left Barcelona to go to PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, to form a kind of a power trio with some guys there. We'll see if that turns into anything. But also keeping it in soccer. The Euros were this summer, and England was so close to bringing it home, only to lose in penalties to Italy. But also in a summer too that saw Chelsea lift the Champions League, keeping Manchester City from winning their first Champions League. But then taking it outside of soccer. Are we ever going to see Kyrie Irving play basketball ever again? And if so, will it be in the city of New York? Because there's been talk about finding a way to just have him play on the road in towns that won't require him to be vaccinated to play in their arenas.
And we'll find out what it means for that team moving forward when it comes to championship aspirations, because what happens when you have to play 2 at home and 2 on the road back-to-back? Like, there is a lot. And in the finals, 2-3-2, that comes up to being really big.
Well, I think it's 2-2-1-1-1 now in basketball. I think they changed that rule a few years ago.
We'll check that in 1 second, but I wanted to talk a little bit as we looked back at 2021. It's time to look forward to 2022. And this is going to be really fun because it is time that this is the only time of year where we could be outrageous. Now, mind you, we are radio hacks, so we always get the chance to be outrageous and say bad opinions, but this is the one time where we're never going to be wrong. We can't be wrong until we're actually finally proven incorrect. And that is to make some bold predictions coming up in the sports world of 2022. Now, of course, there's easy ones like, where's Aaron Rodgers going to play? Is he going to stay, retire, whatnot? So we're going to be more specific if you go down that road. So I will start off with one, and I will say the Chicago Bulls will be in the NBA Finals in 2022.
I'm writing all these down.
So the Chicago Bulls will be in the NBA Finals in 2022.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, I believe they will beat the Milwaukee Bucks in 7 games in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay, so hold up.
They will be playing the Milwaukee Bucks in a 7-game series. I think this is a team that has the type of guys that haven't been through the ringer the same way the teams that have been through the bubble and then came back and played a shortened season to then go back to the NBA Finals. They're the only team in this playoff hunt right now that, because they were bad before, haven't had the miles under them that some of these other teams have had. So maybe as an X factor, that is just one maybe outrageous prediction. What do you got, Paulie?
The Chicago Cubs win the Field of Dreams game.
Okay, very outrageous.
Wow, what's the score going to be, Mr. Specific?
I don't think it's going to be a dramatic walk-off. I think it's going to be like a 7-3.
Very interesting.
What do you got?
Not at all interesting.
Marver, what do you got for us?
Marver, outrageous, crazy prediction for 2022. What do you got?
Well, I think I've said this before. Russell Wilson will either be with the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Green Bay Packers, depending on which one of those veteran quarterbacks actually doesn't play for those teams next year.
Interesting. How about this? I'll throw in a third team for you for the Russell Wilson thing. I think Russell Wilson will not be playing for Seattle, will not be playing for Oakland, now known as the Las Vegas Raiders. Yeah. He'll be playing for the Cleveland Browns. I believe
Baker Mayfield's not going to stick with the Browns?
I believe that is the trade scenario where Baker Mayfield is good enough and that Seattle can turn it around and say, like, yeah, we got ourselves a quarterback that we can still evaluate. He's got some money. Maybe we could do something. We're seeing what's happening in Seattle right now. There's no chemistry between him and DK Metcalf. Taylor Lockett is hit or miss. They don't have a running game anymore. I think, how close was he to being a Bear?
Yeah.
Like Russell Wilson's on the move. There's a lot of teams that could vie for him. I think Derek Carr's kind of played his way into staying with Vegas for another year. I like Derek Carr. I always thought he was on the other end of the top tier of the guys. So I think you're looking at, and Aaron Rodgers will be playing for the Denver Broncos.
Okay.
Those are my 2 guesses. Russell Wilson will end up in Cleveland, and Aaron Rodgers will end up in Denver.
I think you're right about Carr sticking with Las Vegas. I think, especially in the post-Gruden Raiders this season, and the fact that, like, they're 1 win away from making the playoffs. I haven't looked at the picture yet, but that win today over the Colts is big for this franchise this season. He's got 1 year left on his deal, and he'll become a free agent after 2022. I think they would get an extension done. I think he's meant so much to that franchise that they would try to reward him, and maybe he would take the hometown discount because he likes being a Raider. After that, I don't know. I mean, who's going to be coaching the Raiders? I don't know. I'd love to say Eric Bieniemy, but I don't think that's the case. I don't think this organization is going to take a shot on someone. I think they want someone with some proven success, but I mean, we'll see. I guess, another bold prediction for me, I say Liverpool wins the Champions League this year.
Are you sure you want to put that? That's it. It's in the universe.
Yeah, no, it's in the universe. Yeah, they're winning the Champions League this year.
Devin, what do you got? You're staying quiet. No, we want you to have some egg in your face. What
I got my face here. I'm going to go more recent. I say we will see the Buccaneers face the Patriots in the Super Bowl this year.
Oh, okay.
And I think the Bucs will win with Tom Brady getting the MVP.
Back-to-back against his old team. Belichick loses to Brady. That is interesting. And we did make our original predictions. So on a future episode of the Sports Cubicle, we will circle back and talk about some of our early season predictions. But as of right now, you are going Brady versus Belichick.
That was not the prediction I made at the beginning of the year, but I think this year, with Mac Jones, he's having the Tim Tebow year right now. He's not playing the greatest, but this team is still winning here. And as we learned, who can shut down the Tim Tebow type? It's Tom Brady.
All right, Marver, I'm going to throw this one to you. I'm about to make a guess. I don't know how bold it is or how crazy out there it is, but I want to see your thoughts. Carlos Correa will be a Chicago Cub.
Agreed. Absolutely, 100%.
Paulie, is that crazy?
That's not crazy. I think he won't be a Cub, though, but I'm trying to think off the top of my head, a team that's looking for a shortstop right now that would spend the money. Not the Dodgers, maybe the Yankees. Cubs are definitely a strong candidate. Tigers are out of the running. I'll go with Dodgers. I think he ends up there.
It's going to be interesting because baseball is not even a thing yet. So I think maybe that's something we need to tackle right now. I mean, we're making the bold predictions. When do we get baseball?
Yeah, Paul, you said it'd be back by Christmas.
Well, yeah, that's assuming that they were going to talk to each other. So
our local, our resident baseball expert, Baseball Weekend Journal, every weekend, Paul Chivari, bringing the fire, making sure that he's staying tabs with it. We'll start with you. The lockout. When do we get baseball back in 2022? Do we get baseball back in 2022?
Absolutely. I think we do. And I'm still confident that it's not going to be a long negotiation. I think there will be posturing for a couple of weeks, but I think when push comes to shove and you can smell spring training around the corner, they're going to get it done. I think maybe pitchers and catchers will get delayed at this point, just based on the fact that from everything I'm hearing about this is that the players are ready to talk. The league keeps making these proposals that just doesn't even compromise to any degree. I think once it gets closer and the league realizes that they're losing leverage, they're going to get something done quick.
Marver, do we get baseball in 2022? And if we do, when are we getting Major League Baseball?
I'm afraid it may be a truncated season. Hopefully it'll be not like the year the Montreal Expos got cheated out of the playoffs, or it was half and half, remember? But I think that was because it was in the middle of the season that happened. It may not be 162 games this year, but there will be a season.
Deb?
I'd like to say hopefully mid-February, late February. But right now, I'm a little with Marver. I think we're probably going to get a shorter season, not a full one. But I would like the 162. But I think with this, and on top of the new Omicron variant coming out, definitely it's probably going to be a shorter season.
It will be a shorter season. They will not play until after April, but we will get baseball in 2022.
I got a crazy baseball prediction.
Let's hear it.
Craig Kimbrell is going to be the closer for the White Sox this year.
You sure?
We're talking crazy, though.
That is crazy.
I'll write it down for Paul.
That is crazy. I think you still
no, maybe split with Hendricks. But I think you're going to see Sox will be stuck with Kimbrel, and they're eventually going to have to just kind of slot. Maybe Hendricks has some problems, and they reverse roles for a while.
Yeah, Mercado has this list for you, Paul. It's called Reasons Why You're Full of Crap. I'm just going to put that on there.
That is definitely one of them.
Who's Kimbrel pitching for this year?
Oh man,
I'll walk it back. I think he stays with the White Sox.
Yeah, I think he stays with the White Sox.
Same.
I just think there's too much uncertainty going on in baseball right now, and too much that has to still happen for us to get baseball. That I think a move like that is going to take some time.
They were talking about the last CBA being a contentious negotiation, and they got it done in a matter of a couple of days. That's why I'm confident that this won't even affect opening day.
It's going to be interesting to see what baseball and how fans respond to what's going on with baseball. Because right now, fans, I don't think are really even caring too much because nothing's really been affected by it yet.
And most fans don't know the nitty-gritty of it, so they look at it as the millionaires versus the billionaires and that they're both crying and complaining, and it's a lot more complex than that. So no matter what, any loss of regular season playing time is going to hurt the league for years to come.
And we'll see how fans come back. Devin brought it up about Omicron. We'll see if fans want to come back. We'll see how much they're invested and which teams are invested, how this plays out for Major League Baseball. There's a lot of stuff they're going to have to iron out, and Paulie will be all over it at Baseball Weekend Journal. As we're already wrapping up, guys, it's been a fun 2 weeks. We have been able to kind of touch it all in both 2021 and looking forward to 2022. I want to thank the amazing group over at Family Meeting for letting us fill in these last 2 weeks. Shout out to Mark Pinsky for, again, giving us the keys, and to Matt Cummings, an amazing job as well, always looking out for us. I want to make sure we invite you all to stay with us even though we're not going to be here 4 to 6, the amazing people at the family meeting will be here. We're still going to be here at the mother station at WCPT 9 to 10 p.m. So if you've ever missed a past episode, we are in the SoundCloud of WCPT. So check out the archives there at WCPT 820, the Sports Cubicle. If you missed any episode, any interview, we're all over the universe, every major podcast platform at Mercado Airwaves Network and at YouTube, Mercado Airwaves Network. Baseball Weekend Journal. If you are a baseball nut, if you are clamoring, waiting to get back to pitchers and catchers, Paul Chivari has you covered. And when I say covered, it is like a blanket. I'm super excited about that. I want to give a quick shout out to Devin Tingle for doing amazing work on the board, doing all the production, getting us here for the last 2 shows, doing amazing work when we're here 9 to 10, staying late in the studio, making sure we sound good. Dan Marver for doing some amazing work, joining us however he can and making sure he is a part of these conversations with you. And we want to thank you guys for being so interactive on Facebook, on social media. It has meant a lot to us. If you want to be interactive, you want to stay in touch with us, these 2 gentlemen are always on my personal show at Sports from the Couch. And I'm also on Twitter at Mike M Media. Boys, I've had a wonderful time. I can't wait to talk more sports. Next time we'll be on the air. Bears will be done with the NFL season. The Bulls will be another week into it, and we will see what happens in Major League Baseball. But it's been a great 2 weeks here for me.
I love you, Mercado, but that's not true because our replay will be on tonight
there you
at
go.
9 p.m.
You can't get rid of us that easy, guys.
So if you're up right now listening to the replay, first off, thank you for staying up late. Second, why are you up still late? We like you listening, but why are you up still late? I'm the only night out here. Come on, guys.
So as we're up against the clock, any final thoughts, Paulie?
Hey, it's a World Cup year this year, and it's going to be in Dubai. Or no, I'm sorry, it's going to be
Qatar?
in Qatar. Yeah, in like November.
Yeah.
November.
It's going to be so hot. So I mean, we'll be covering that here. I mean, we'll definitely be covering that here because there's a lot of things to get into, both with FIFA and with Qatar and everything happening there. But of course, Paulie, our resident football lover on the pitch, will make sure he keeps that covered. Thank you, Paulie. Marver, any final thoughts for our people?
Happy New Year 2022, everybody.
We love you, Marver.
Great year for everybody.
We love you, buddy. You are the man. Thank you for everything, Coach. Devin, any final thoughts for the people?
Here's hoping for another year of the Sports Cubicle throughout all 2022. September will be our 1-year anniversary, guys.
Please.
And I'll bring you all flowers.
Please, everybody, thank you guys so much for joining us here on the Sports Cubicle. We want to just send all the love. Love my boys here. Please make sure you guys are taking care of yourself and taking care of each other. It is some crazy times out there. But if you want to see the future of Justin Fields, if you want to see potentially number 7 NBA championship and maybe another baseball season, make sure you're taking care of yourself and your neighborhood. Get vaccinated if you can. Wear a mask. Wash your hands. Be vigilant. And love each other. Love these sports because we love you and we love talking about them. It has been an amazing 2021 for us. I'm proud about everything we've built. Proud of the boys, and I'm proud of each and every one of you. Thank you to WCPT. Thank you to the family meeting. Thank you to Mark Pitsky, Matt Cummings, the amazing audience. Boys, it's going to be a great 2022. A lot of stuff. The Bulls are back.
Bulls are back. Maybe the Bears will be back or not be back next year. Be something completely different.
It'll be fascinating. It'll be fascinating. There's a good chance that the Bulls, that when we're here next year, if we're covering again, if the universe allows it, if we haven't burned every bridge after this show, that there's a chance that the Chicago Bulls will be a team that has been in the NBA Finals. So the Chicago Bears will have a new regime, and that is exciting. There will be a new CBA for baseball. There will be new futures for the White Sox and the Cubs. And for a city like Chicago, all you can ever ask for is for a chance at a bite of greatness. So I'm excited for that.
Thank you for joining us these past 2 weeks. And, of course, you can listen to our replay at 9 p.m. tonight. Make sure you stick around for the Chicago Heel. It's a great show. You're not going to miss it. All right, boys, let's get back to the basement of the basement. Have a good night, guys.
Well, John, what did you think of tonight's episode?
I loved it, big time. But in retrospect, it was kind of a ripoff. What a way to treat the loyal fans who put up with so much nonsense from this franchise.
Any final thoughts?
Nah, I'm too mad. Let's get the heck out of here.